Okay.
There's nobody here that thinks it's okay to be violent or abusive to women. But then why is there so much abuse and violence going on out there? It's a learned behavior, and we can educate our violent and abusive brothers to stop that violence.
Our goal today is to create a group of men that can go into those places where we work and recreate and become agents of change, raising awareness about domestic violence and never ever participating in all the activities that lead up to it.
Domestic or relationship violence is experienced as physical, emotional, or sexual abuse. It occurs with staggering frequency across cultures, incomes, and education levels. For years, women have been at the forefront of domestic violence education and efforts to end relationship violence. The Men's Leadership Forum has a simple mandate: bring male leaders into the community of citizens working to end domestic violence.
It's important because we're bringing men in to be a part of the solution. The majority of men are not violent, so it's up to them to be able to promote to their friends that are out there, their coworkers, their children, their nephews, whatever it is, about different ways to be violence-free, and that includes in the way we speak, not just in our physical behavior.
And I said, would you do me a big favor tonight? If you see some of your friends that just aren't acting appropriately, if they're not being respectful of any of the women that are working in there, would you just tell them to cool it? And he says, yes, sir, I'll do that. Okay, that's all you got to do, guys. Talk to your kids.
Whether relationship violence happens to women or men, as a culture, we tend to blame those being harmed. Questions like, why doesn't she just leave? Or, why does he put up with that kind of behavior? Often we miss the most important question: why do some people hurt the very ones they supposedly love? For the Men's Leadership Forum, the question we ask is more deeply rooted in a solution. How can we influence men to enter into the noble effort to help break the cycle of domestic violence?
You would be surprised at the number of domestic violence cases that I see on a daily basis. So my presence here is to encourage folks that you got to do the root cause. You got to understand why domestic violence continues to work in the organization, and that's why I'm here.
I want to say thank you to all the men in this room for stepping up. And I also want to thank part of my team that came with me today, because it's up to them to make it work.
The Men's Leadership Forum exists to help men create an environment of zero tolerance for domestic violence in their homes, classrooms, and workplaces. It's about fostering healthy relationships and taking the responsibility as real men to lead by example without violence or intimidation. The Men's Leadership Forum is a fast-paced, informative, and fun day-long event that you'll definitely want to be a part of.
They don't have to say no, they can say stop, they can say I'm not comfortable, they can say pretty much anything other than a yes should be a no, right? Should count as a no.
Every man can make a difference, so every man is needed in this effort. By attending the annual Men's Leadership Forum, you'll learn about successful violence prevention programs in the workplace and faith-based efforts that are reaching out to victims and abusers. You'll hear about the range of community resources available to assist survivors and educate families. You will also learn to influence other men to forge positive relationships with loved ones.
If you and I are having a relationship, I love you, I care about you, there are certain things I would not do to you because you are a special person in my life. But if, in my head, you are the bitch, then that opens up the doorway. Then I don't have to be careful, because a bitch doesn't deserve to be treated well. My wife does, or somebody else, a friend does, or somebody else I care about does, but not a bitch.
We're becoming more aware about the damage domestic violence does to individuals and families. But we should also be aware of the impacts on communities and society in general. It's been estimated that American businesses lose up to $7 billion from poor productivity, extended absences, and increased medical bills due to domestic violence. It makes good financial sense to teach employees how to act and intervene on all forms of disrespect to women at home or on the job. If you're an employer, Ask men with leadership qualities to attend the Men's Leadership Forum. Have them return with information that is valuable for the safety and functioning of your workplace. Men's Leadership Forum supports employers who want to make a difference in the health of their employees and the financial growth of their business.
You should have some policies, you should have some protocols. It needs to be top-down driven, but if it comes from within, from the employees taking a stand with their peers, the long-term benefits, it's going to benefit you as a business person.
People who are living in this situation often say, I wish somebody at work, I wish somebody had said something. It's a pattern over time you're going to see of this stuff taking place.
Labor organizations can also play an important role in changing society through the Men's Leadership Forum. By partnering with employers, labor can create more respectful and peaceful couples and families.
A lot of the symptoms or a lot of the things that affect people at work from domestic violence is not going to work because of being afraid of what people are going to say, or the fact that how they may be looking that day because maybe they had an encounter that day, lies that they have to say. And when you see that happening in the workplace as an employer or an employee, it affects you. So what I would say to employer is you need to get involved, because that's how you're going to help this person come back to work.
Of course, eliminating domestic violence is, at its core, a moral issue. But for too long, faith-based organizations have either ignored or been unable to deal with the problem. The Men's Leadership Forum brings together faith leaders to affirm that no matter what they believe, religious groups will not permit batterers to justify their abuse and will forcefully speak out on the subject while creating a welcoming, safe place for victims. Just as importantly, faith groups are also reaching out to batterers by offering an accepting, loving environment for those who want to change their destructive behaviors.
I think then this is really what it comes down to, is a crisis in manhood. That a real man is a man of faith, a man who treats women with love, sensitivity, and not with violence.
To prevent domestic violence in the long run, we have to reach the young men of our communities today. The Men's Leadership Forum strongly encourages young men, high school age and up, to attend and take back what they learned to their own peer groups and families.
One of the main things I learned was about respect. We get different perspectives from different colors, different genders, all that. So I think respect is the most important thing that I learned.
And it seems to me that if our schools become models of how to treat people properly with dignity and respect, we're having an incredible impact in reducing domestic violence.
Every man has a stake in promoting healthy, loving relationships and stable, thriving families. You are needed in the struggle against domestic violence. With the right preparation, each one of us can make a difference right where we live, work, and play. Attend the Men's Leadership Forum. Get informed, be inspired, and change the world for the better. For more information about the Men's Leadership Forum, go to www.sandiegodvcouncil.org.